Hello students, today we will be continuing with the next subtopic, that is tribe. We have done the introductory portion. So this is tribe, the career of a concept, the second topic under tribe. So let's start. Scholars argue whether tribes should be considered as a continuum with caste-based Hindu societies or whether they should be considered as a totally different community. So there are scholars having different opinions, where one group of scholars are of the view that tribe should be considered as a continuity of the mainstream caste-based Hindu society. They believe that tribes are not very much different from the caste-based Hindu society. There are only a few differences, between the caste-based Hindu society and the tribes. Some scholars viewed the tribe as being different only in terms of not having stratification, hierarchy, and having a community ownership of properties. So there are a group of scholars who view tribe as being different from the caste-based Hindu society only in terms of not having stratification. The way in which the Hindu society is stratified on the basis of caste system, they have hierarchy, that is not present in the tribes. And the tribes have community ownership of properties. The forest properties, the natural resources are owned in the form of community and there is no individual ownership. So scholars say that that is only the major difference between caste-based Hindu society and the tribes. Whereas other group of scholars argue that tribes are totally different as they do not have the notion of purity and pollution. So again, there is another group of scholar who says that tribes are like extremely different from the caste based Hindu society, because the notion of purity and pollution that is followed by the caste based Hindu society, the idea of untouchability followed by them, they have this notion that the brahmanas are pure and the untouchables are polluted, and if you go and eat with them or touch with them or share a seat with them, you become polluted. So that notion is not present among the tribals, which is a major component or characteristics of a Hindu society. So this group of scholar says that tribes are totally different because they do not follow purity and pollution. By 1970s, it was seen that the distinction between tribe and caste did not hold serious grounds in terms of any criteria like its size, isolation, means of livelihood, etc. So the earlier definitions that we followed, like the tribes are isolated groups and they have a particular type of livelihood and they do not have a large population, all of this was being falsified. All of these other things were coming up which challenged these ideas of the isolation of the tribes, the livelihood of the tribes, because like tribes like Santals, Gonds and Bills are spread over large territories. So it was believed that tribes are concentrated in few areas like in the northeastern areas, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, but now all of these are being challenged because tribes like Santals, Gonds, Bills are spread over a large territory. They are living in different places, different states and districts of the country. Tribes like Mundas, Hos have adopted settled agriculture. So usually the tribes, they follow slash and burn agriculture, jhum cultivation, shifting cultivation. It's the same thing. Like they cultivate a plot of land, they keep cultivating it, and then they just burn it off and then they move and start cultivating another plot of land. But now tribes like Mundas, Hos, they have started cultivating a certain piece of land. They have adopted settled agriculture, like living in one place and cultivating a particular plot of land and not moving from one place to another, and neither practicing shifting cultivation. I hope you all understand what shifting cultivation is. Hunting gathering tribes like Birhors of Bihar have been specializing in basket making, pressing oil, etc. So all these tribes who are engaged in or who practiced hunting and gathering as their means of livelihood, they have switched to all this business, small scale business like basket making, pressing oil. However, many caste groups have been engaged in hunting and gathering. On the other hand, caste groups, the Hindu society, caste based group society, the mainstream Indian society, have adopted hunting and gathering since there are no employment options to maintain their livelihood. Tribes are absorbed into caste groups through processes such as Sanskritization, acculturation. So we have studied about this earlier. So tribes are accepted into caste groups through all of these processes. Some scholars argue that the tribes need not be labeled as a pristine, original, and pure. So they are saying that the scholars are of the view that tribes may not be considered to be pristine. Pristine meaning original and pure. So they are saying that tribes are to not be considered as something which is untouched by civilization, who are really original and pure. Okay. Whereas they are of the view that tribes should be seen as a secondary phenomena. So these scholars are saying tribes should not be considered original but should be seen as a secondary phenomena resulting out of the exploitative contact between the state and the non-state groups. So they are saying is tribal groups, they result out of the exploitation, the conflict between the mainstream Indian society and the and the non-state groups. Okay, state and the non-state groups meaning due to the exploitation caused by the government over these people who do not fit into the very mainstream Indian society. That is when the tribal groups emerge. So in order to maintain their identity, in order to distinguish themselves from the mainstream Indians, they adopt the identity as tribals. They begin to call themselves tribals. However, the idea that tribes are like hunting gathering societies that have remained untouched by the time is still widely accepted. So people they still believe that, they still accept the fact that the tribes are societies that make a livelihood by hunting and gathering and have still been untouched by civilization. They still maintain their age old practices and they do not follow the activities of the mainstream society.